and the way I would have died. Okay, we are recording. Xin chào, everybody. That is hello in Vietnamese. Even though I'm not in Vietnam currently, that's what the majority of this video is going to be about. So I figured I would start with that intro. Let's just go ahead and address the elephant in the room that I have not been on YouTube in longer than I expected to be taking a little break for. I'm going to talk about that a bit, where it is that I've been, what it is that I've been doing, give you all a little bit of a story time. But yeah, it has been a minute, y'all. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I was not intending on it being this long, but then life just be lifing, and then time just be passing, and then all of a sudden you look up and you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't talked to a camera in like weeks. And that's a problem. I'm finally in a place where I have like decompressed, unpacked my feelings and emotions and all the things that I've been doing the past couple of weeks, because it's been a lot, to say the least. It's been a lot. I've got myself a little notes page here, so if you see me looking down or like looking in this area, it's because I need to have a train of thought, because there's too much to unpack, and I don't want this video to be like an hour long of me rambling. So yeah, we're gonna call this segment How's It Going, which I felt like had a cute little ring to it because my channel is outgoing and I'm telling y'all how's it going, and it just felt right. It felt like it fit what's been going on in my little brain noggin. My little one brain cell has been working overtime, and I just want to explain a couple of things to you all. So what has been the holdup with these videos? So a couple of things. When I was looking back on some of the footage that I've been filming, which I've filmed 2 other videos and also just like been talking throughout vlogs. I could have done a vlog style, but I was just looking back at the footage and y'all, I was not feeling it. As I was editing, I was like, no, it's not giving me. It's not giving a video that I want to post. So I decided to scrap those and just do a sit down. Second thing, we're having a bit of technical difficulties with my laptop. Thankfully, I have backups for editing and all of that stuff. But yeah, Miss Laptop Girl, she's down really bad. And I don't want to get into exactly what happened, but at some point I'm going to get it fixed or get a new laptop or just be editing off of my iPad. And you know, I went through the 7 stages of grief with that situation, and you know, we are on the other side. God still provides, and it's going to work itself out. I can't be worried about that situation 24/7, 365. I've let it go. Third thing, which is a group of things, but just travel, living, emotions, a bit of anxiety, touching on the anxiety thing a bit. So I'm traveling solo, I'm traveling long term, I'm figuring out a budget, I've got choice paralysis and travel fatigue as well. So there's just been a lot of things that have kind of added up over this month and a half. This is like my first long-term stint of almost like backpacking, and when I started this year I wasn't planning on doing a backpacking leg, but that's just kind of like what it became. And when you're packing and unpacking and meeting new people and sleeping in rooms with 10 other people and running around and doing excursions all the time, it adds up. And little did I know it was going to add up to a sum that was greater than what I could hold, basically, if that makes sense. So I really kind of just burnt out, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, but I also just wanted to like live in the moment as well and just be experiencing things. So yeah, I had a bit of anxiety that kind of paused my productivity for like a little bit. But then on the other hand, I feel like over the past couple of weeks, I've really been honing on like my healing process and just like kind of getting through this experience at a different pace. I really had to slow down and understand what it is that I want out of travel and how I might travel differently than other people. So I feel like I really had a moment to pause, which I'll talk about. I found a space to just like sit, my ass down. Because those of you who follow me on Instagram know that I was literally all over the place. I was running to a different place every 2 to 3 days, and like, girl, what are you doing? Because you've got a big chunk of time left to continue traveling, and hopping around every 2 to 3 days is not sustainable. So I found a place to pause. I really leaned on like God and the word and praying and getting back into my faith walk these past couple of weeks. I ran some options fully through of where I want to go next travel wise and planned them completely through, because like I said, I've been having choice paralysis, and so I wasn't even able to get past the idea of like, oh, here are all these options of where I can go next, and that was where it ended, and that overwhelmed me, versus being like, here are all my options, let me pluck one off the list, plan it out, and see if your girl wants to go. Like, I wasn't putting action behind anything. I was just like, oh, so many things, so many places, oh, I'm freaking out, and like, calm down, baby girl, calm down. Like, it's gonna be okay. This is a good problem to have. Like, just see something through. Do something, girl. So yeah, I started planning my options through, journaling heavy. Y'all, these past couple of weeks I've been journaling every day, and it has made a world of difference. And I'm realizing that I just need to be journaling regularly outside of the moments where I feel like I need to be getting my feelings out, because having that be in my routine allows me to catch these feelings and thoughts and emotions before they bubble over the surface and start to impact the way that I want to live my life. So I got back in my journal bag. Words of affirmation have been really big for me, and I'll put some up on the screen of just things that I've been telling myself. Maybe they'll apply to you, but they really do be eating, y'all. Like, telling yourself certain things every day when you wake up, it just, I don't know, it validates a lot of those behind the scenes emotions that don't come to light because I'm being swept away this way and that way in all different directions and things. Like, words of affirmation have really been anchoring me. Yeah, get into those. And yeah, normalizing my feelings and emotions, because I think once I started feeling a bit anxious, or once I started feeling a bit overwhelmed, I was like, oh no, I'm not supposed to be feeling this way. Why am I feeling this way? This is so bad. And it clicked to me, and I was like, no, this kind of matches your situation. Like, of course you're gonna be a bit overwhelmed. Of course you're gonna have fatigue. Of course you're gonna miss home. Like, all of these different things. I wasn't allowing myself to see those feelings and emotions through. I was trying to cut them at the root and be like, no, you're not supposed to feel this way. You're supposed to be happy. This is supposed to be fun and travel and exploring and stuff like that. And I wasn't giving myself the space to have any feelings other than joy and excitement and anticipation. And so once I really sat with myself and was like, it's okay, you're feeling this way. It's normal. Keep feeling these feelings, girl. Let them out and explore what it's like to pull yourself out of a funk. I've taken the time to really learn how to regulate myself and listen to my body and change my environment to feel better. So yeah, I feel like there's been a lot of growth, but I had to pause on the videos in order for the growth to take place. So I apologize for the wait, but your girl is back, and I'm giving myself a lot more grace on posting and when I'm posting and all of this stuff. I'm being a lot more lenient with myself. And with that being said, also one thing I want to say is this whole rhetoric around a year, I gotta do a year. Let's just ball that up and let's just chuck that in the trash, because that's not the whole year thing. No, I'm traveling for as long as I want to travel, however short, however long. If it's over a year, cool. If it's under a year, cool. But trying to fit this experience within a box, either fit it in or fill it up, is too much. It's too much. So some of y'all are watching are like, yeah, girl, I could have told you that. But you know, looking back at the beginning of the year, she still had like a really tight grip on the plan and what I expected this year to be and all of that. And yeah, I will say one thing I've been getting out of Asia is the plan's gone. I am fully like to the wind It's God's plan now, and yeah, I'm really happy with the ways in which I've kind of broken that wall down a bit, but it was unexpected and it was a learning curve for me in figuring out how to just be okay with whatever was happening around me outside of what I had expected. That's where I've been mentally, and yeah, do with that what you will. So now we're gonna get into the story time. I'm really excited. I've got a bunch of videos to share. The last time I talked to you all was in Thailand. I was heading down south to Phuket and doing my little island hopping experience. And the last hostel that I stayed at there was in Krabi. Y'all, it was called Bananas Bungalows. It was like northern Krabi area. Krabi? Yeah, northern Krabi area. And I cannot recommend it enough if you're in Southeast Asia. All of the excursions that I was doing, we went with people from the hostel, and anywhere we went, we were like the only people there. I was doing kayaking. I was like swimming out in the ocean, snorkeling on little islands. And we did a full day boat tour and just hopped around on this little long boat, and it was very different from my experience in PP with my excursions there. I would say you can go ahead and skip PP, baby. If you're like a chill girly like me and just enjoy relaxing and kind of being a little bit off the beaten path in a way, Bananas Bungalows. Remember that name, write it down, make sure you go there when you're in southern Thailand. So yeah, I had a great time there. I spent about a week there, and all of the people that were passing through as well were backpackers, great vibe, great energy. I got myself a little bungalow, and every night we were just playing cards and just having great conversation, having a good time. And I was really sad to leave, but I left Bananas Bungalows to go to Vietnam. So part of the Vietnam experience was just to see a new country and explore and experience that, but another part was that I can only be in Thailand for 30 days at a time, and I was coming up on having only maybe like 5 or 6 more days left. So I was like, okay, let's go to Vietnam. I had gotten my visa before I came to Thailand, and yeah, I wanted to check it out. So got to Hanoi, and yeah, it was a lot more energy than Thailand, in my opinion. There were just so many motorbikes everywhere, and y'all, this is like something that everybody knows when they go to Vietnam. It's just like so many motorbikes, so many people, so many things happening. And with Thailand, it felt like there were areas, like specific touristy or like really populated areas, but in Vietnam, or in Hanoi specifically, it was just like across the board energy, like transit, just things going on. My first day, I did go to the Women's Museum, which I absolutely loved, y'all. The perspective that I got in that museum about matriarchal societies in Vietnam and the war and fashion and just so many things that I would not have understood the perspective of just in my daily life or even learned about outside of that museum was incredible. And the exhibits that they had and the artifacts that they had, I highly recommend going there. Your girl was shedding tears up in there just because I don't know, we learned about the war back in America, but just getting the perspective of the other side, specifically from women and like their family lives and how it affected them, I was really just like fully sucked into those exhibits in particular. And then I did a walking tour, which I highly recommend everyone does, like one of those little free walking tours whenever you go to a new city. They're always on like Get Your Guide or something, and I always do those just to understand more. A lot of times the person who's giving you the tour is a local, so you can ask them just about like regular life around as well as historical things, because they often know so much. So like even though you're with like a tourist group and you just look like a band of like tourists, I mean, it's obvious, but it's a really, I don't know, important experience in my opinion, and we got to see so much. So then after Hanoi, I did the Giang Loop. Everybody, Giang Loop has my heart. I'm telling y'all, do it. And honestly, I didn't know anything about Vietnam before I went there. I'm not gonna lie, that's been probably most of my experience since being in Asia. I should be showing up places, and maybe I have some information off Reddit. Shout out to my Reddit travel forum people, because y'all have single-handedly informed pretty much all of my travels. Yeah, so I've just been looking up things on Reddit and going based off of what people tell me to do. So Giang Loop was on that list. Everybody was talking about Giang Loop. I ended up going with a group that provided easy riders, because your girl is not a motorbiker. Like, I cannot ride a motorbike by myself, let alone on that loop. There were a lot of parts of the loop where like the road didn't exist, or it was a bit like just a mess, y'all. And the way I would have died, like the way I would have flown off that bike. So yeah, I got an easy rider. The tour group that I got was called Road Kings, and they did it right. Like, my specific group was only like 5 people. I'm hearing from these other groups, you're riding around with minimum like 30-40 people, and you're sleeping on these beds on the floor. We, on the other hand, we had our own rooms and bathrooms like every night. So it was a bit more expensive, I think, A, because of the room situation, and B, because I had an easy rider. But I don't know, I feel like the price was good for the experience that I got. So let's just unpack this Giang situation. Had an easy rider, his name was Nam. Oh my gosh, what an angel of a man. Like, I think I really lucked out because he was like the leader of the biker gang. Like, he spoke the most English, so the entire time we were riding around, we were just talking. He was giving me so much information. I was asking him questions about things that we were seeing. We were riding through a lot of like valleys that had villages of, I don't know if you would call them indigenous tribes, but yeah, we got to see ways in which people live, but without being as, how I felt, maybe intrusive or just like in their space. You're kind of just riding through and seeing, which felt better for me, just because, I don't know, I just feel like sometimes when I'm in spaces, especially a lot further out with people who are existing in just more natural environments, I don't know, I just feel like very intrusive when I'm just like walking around and all up in their business. So it was cool to just kind of like ride through a motorbike, wave at the kids. It was honestly as well one of the most beautiful travel experiences I have ever had in terms of the landscape and the views. I chose to do the 4-day package, which I'm really happy, because every day I was just like, wow, I'm about to have another day of just views all day long. Well, the weather that we got was incredible, and the sun was out. I didn't feel hot at all. You get a breeze being on that little bike, y'all. When I tell you I was on that bike, I was just doing this. I was waving my hands, y'all. I was having a good old time on the back of that bike, and that's another reason why I'm happy that I did an easy rider, because I was able to just like take videos and look off, and I had my headphones in. I was listening to an audiobook. I was listening to this audiobook called An Immense World, and that put me even more in a National Geographic kind of vibe, because it tells you about how animals interact with the world, and it was just, the narrator was just getting to me, and sometimes I had a little bit of a music break, and y'all, I was having a good old time. And the group that I was with was incredible. We had our own little like band, because when I tell you we were doing karaoke everywhere, on the side of the road, every single night, sometimes in the mornings, anywhere you went, they had mics and a TV set up. It was crazy. Like, Vietnam is the place for karaoke. We ate so much food. But speaking on the excursions, we did like waterfalls, we swam in a cave, which I didn't get any footage of the cave just because we were jumping off cliffs and stuff, and I was not about to bring my phone up in there to get broke, like my dang laptop, okay? But we were able to kind of live in homestays, which was really cool. So just having experiences where we're living in a place that a family has created for people to come stay and experience their culture, which I really appreciated. And you could walk around the areas there, and yeah, it was just, seeing another way of life was incredible. What else? Every night we drank this thing called happy water, which was basically just like watered down alcohol, in my opinion. And y'all, I am a lightweight, so when I say it was watered down, I really mean it. Like, we were having shot after shot after shot, and you do this thing, it's like, hi, baaaaack. I'll put a video in of the whole ritual of taking the shot. Hi, baaaaack! Hi, baaaaack! But yeah, so we're drinking happy water. The last night, some people did get drunk, and I was like, how much did y'all drink? Because y'all, when I tell you, I was taking like 15, 16 shots and nothing. And normally I'm crawling around after like the third shot, and I really don't like drinking either. But honestly, yeah, it was fine. Just don't drink too much. I think the people that got drunk on the last night probably had like 30 shots or something crazy, because I was like, ain't no way y'all were that drunk. But anyways, it was just a good time overall. Like, I don't know, good vibes. Like I said, my easy rider, we were like this, y'all. Like, he called me Lady Ollie, and he was just such a good time. Like, he had great energy. Like I said, he was the leader of everything. So anywhere we went, he was like making sure I was taken care of, but also like just leading the other bikers. I don't know, it felt like we were like a force. I don't know. But yeah, the whole group itself was incredible, and it's an experience that just like, going to Vietnam in general, like having that experience was everything for me, and I'm so happy that I did that. Put that at the top of your travel bucket list in terms of nature and just a different experience, because like riding on the back of a motorcycle for 4 days, I've probably been on a motorcycle 3 or 4 times before that, and now I'm just riding it for like 5-6 hours a day every day for 4 days. I will say though, my neck, my back, and my crack, they were hurting so bad by the end of each day, I'm not gonna lie. But it wasn't anything like completely unbearable. It was just like, ooh, like, ouch. But it was fine. You know, the views were worth it, and that's all I'm gonna say about Giang Loop, because we need to move on, because we are at a 26-minute mark, and I still gotta edit this thing, y'all. Oh my gosh. After the Giang Loop, I went down to Ninh Binh. Ninh Binh is another like smaller city, beautiful nature, like everything. Yeah, I don't really know what more to say about that. Once I got there, I was planning on being there for 5 days. When I got there, I did a couple of little things. I did this really cool boat tour through this like river canal thing, and we were going into caves, and we were just seeing a lot of the things to do, or at least a lot of the things that I did in Vietnam were nature centric. So I was just catching the views, y'all. And what I will say about Vietnam, that is a beautiful country. Like the rock formations and the trees and the terraces and just everything that you see is like out of a just photo book, like out of a museum, a gallery, like put it on a postcard. I did a little bit of a hike up to this peak area where you could see all of the landscape and just panoramic views of the city. And so I had a good time in Ninh Binh, but I just didn't feel like I wanted to stay longer. And mind you, at this point, y'all, everywhere I'm going, like I said, 2 to 3 days at a time, maybe like max 5 days. And this is where I started feeling a bit burnt out. Also in Vietnam, you're taking these sleeper buses, which I will say, I only took VIP sleeper buses, and when I tell you, I was having a good time in those sleeper buses. Like, yeah, I didn't mind it. I was sleeping in them, I was having a good time, but I think even just the transit was wearing me down a bit. Like, just going from point A to point B, to get from Ha Giang to Ninh Binh, it was 9 hours. Granted, it was overnight, but it's just like one thing. You know that old TikTok where it's like bus, club, another club, plane, train, like that was me for weeks. So once I got to Ninh Binh, I was like, drained. I was looking around like, okay, what are we doing? I'm tired. And I started feeling a little bit like, man. But then I decided to go to Cat Ba, which is another like, I don't know, 8 hours. Y'all, I don't know what I was on. I don't know what I was doing. I think I was just on like the Reddit forums were really hyping me up to be hopping around like this. And you see so many people that are backpacking through Southeast Asia where they're like, yeah, I was in Laos for 2 months, and then I did Thailand for 2 weeks, and then I did Malaysia and Cambodia, and all, so I'm surrounded by people who are like grinding. And I'm like, I'm gonna grind. And it was around this time that I was realizing the grind gotta stop. Like, they're saying the grind don't stop, but the grind gotta stop for me. Because I was starting to just not enjoy myself in a way because I was so burnt out. So once I got to Cat Ba, which is around like the Halong Bay area, and trying to do like boat tours and check out the city and all of that stuff, on top of that, it started being rainy season. So the skies were gray. Mind you, it was still hot as hell, but the skies were gray and things just weren't adding up for me. Like, I was in this hostel and I was like, you know what? I'm burnt out. Like, and on top of that, I'm having to like plan for where I was going next while I was traveling and like living out the plans that I had made prior. So it was just too much. It was too much. And I think I got overwhelmed. And then I made a very last minute decision. Like the night before I went to Chiang Mai, I booked my flight to Chiang Mai. So I've been messaging these workaways because I kind of just wanted somewhere to rest my head, but for the free. And this workaway messaged me back. They were in Chiang Mai, a bit further out in like the rural like farmland areas, and they were like, you can come on over, girl. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna be there in a couple of days. And they were like, okay. And then I booked my flight, and then I hopped on this bus to go back into Hanoi to catch this flight, which was a whole other experience in and of itself, y'all. The way my past 2 or 3 flights, I've been like running through the airport trying to catch these planes. And one thing I know about myself now is I'm gonna catch a plane. Like, there have been 2 flights ago, I landed at my layover at the same time that my next flight was boarding. And guess what God did? He got me on that plane. I made the plane still. So like, everything is possible at this point travel-wise for me. So yeah, I booked the flight the day before to go back to Chiang Mai because like I said in another video, and like I showed in my next vlog, I had to pick up my luggage anyway from Bangkok because I've been living the backpacker life, but I did leave my suitcase in Bangkok. So I had to come back anyways. So I was like, okay, Chiang Mai, cool. I went back to Chiang Mai and, well, okay, let me back up a second and just say, part of another reason why I left Vietnam, which I don't really want to harp on too much because I don't want to discourage anyone from going to Vietnam, but throughout my experience there, I had people touching my hair and grabbing me for photos. And when I say grabbing, I mean they were like they had a grip on me. It was like, no, you're taking this photo with me. And I've been talking to some people about it who have, you know, traveled throughout Asia, and I think maybe it's obviously a mixture of like curiosity, also the type of people that travel. There are a lot of other Asian tourists that are in Southeast Asia, so I don't really necessarily want to pin it on the Vietnamese like way of interacting socially with Black people, but it was making me uncomfortable, like to look up and see people just like taking selfies near me just to get me in the picture, or just, it was just a lot of that pretty consistently. And I think so I pretty much spent just 2 weeks in Vietnam, and I think I had a bit of social fatigue in that way, plus like meeting new people every single day, plus running around every 3 days to a new place. It was too much by the end of it. And yeah, I made the executive decision to beep bop right out of there. And I think that's one good thing, I guess, about traveling solo and traveling in the way that I'm traveling, is that when I'm done with a place and when the energy is just kind of like, I don't want to be here anymore, I can skedaddle. So yeah, like I said, I booked my flight to Chiang Mai, went down to Chiang Mai, and stayed at this workaway that was a bit of a hippie hut, I'm not gonna lie. Your girl was glamping, but stayed with some of the most giving people. Like, when I tell y'all, I was paying them, I think the equivalent of like $9 a day for a place to stay, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And the host was like taking us around the rural area and showing us his favorite spots and taking us places for food, and I got to go off on myself on a little bicycle and just have some alone time as well. And it was a really beautiful experience. I will say, albeit a bit quirky, because like I said, it was just kind of like in the sticks. I definitely answered my question to myself on whether or not I could live on like farmland or rural, because I mean, we were going to the market every day to like restock the fridge. We were like doing yoga every morning. We were just hanging out and chilling in the common area, doing a bit of gardening, like a bit of a bunch of different things, but it was very chill, soft life. The rainy season has started as well, so like, I don't know. I think I came to Southeast Asia planning to avoid the rainy season. That's why I came in April, but I still caught the end of it anyways. And I can't even lie, I like the rainy season. Like, it doesn't rain all day. When it does rain, it's like torrential downpour. And I love the sound of rain, especially at night. And I got a couple of great nights of sleep just surrounded by the sound of rain and thunder as well. So I kind of enjoyed it. But yeah, after a minute, I was like, okay, city girls assemble. Like, I need a city in my veins right now, because being out in the sticks just kind of started becoming a lot in and of itself as well. But I was able to take the time there to kind of like unpack, relax, be in one spot, which I think I needed desperately. And when I went back into the city in Chiang Mai, I did the same thing. I just sat, unpacked, did a couple of different excursions, which you'll see in my next vlog, but I really have just been relaxing the past couple of weeks and just trying to get back to like an equilibrium before I move on to another place. So yeah, let's see if I missed anything. Yeah, I think that's a lot. We are at 37 minutes. Apologies for the length of this video, but I feel like it makes sense that it's this long because it has been so long since I've talked to you all, and we've had a lot to catch up on. Hopefully I can do better with my pace and just making sure that like I also have weeks or periods of time where I am resting, I am maintaining my routine, I am kind of just like, one way that I really wanted to travel at the beginning of, that I told myself at the beginning of this year, was to have a hub where I am at for like months at a time, or a month at a time or whatever, and then doing side trips from that hub, but staying there a majority of the time and just kind of, like I said, having a routine, maybe learning something, reading, doing slow exploration of a place. And yeah, this past month and a half, I just completely lost sight of that. I'm not gonna lie, I went rogue, and we're not gonna do that again. Like, I'm not doing the whole 2 to 3 day travel thing. However, I will say, in that same breath, my next place that I am going, I think that is what I'm doing actually. But not really. Like, I'm traveling slow. I'm not doing excursion style traveling where the second I get somewhere, I'm going and doing, you know, all the things there is to do there and then jetting off to the next thing. Like, the next place that I'm going, I am just going to be doing some meandering. I don't know nothing about this place, so we are just going to like figure it out as I go. And then I also have plans to hopefully do another work away in the next couple of months where I'm gonna stay super long term. So that is self-care for me, just like finding a place to squat and rest and be. And that's what I'm going to be doing. Like, I'm listening to myself. I cannot do the backpacker travel kind of life. I wish that I could, because y'all are really having the time of your lives and just swinging from vines place to place. But, you know, I got a massive suitcase and I've got a lot of time, so it really doesn't make sense for me to be speeding through places when I can take my time everywhere. So with that being said, I would love to go back to Vietnam. People touching me aside, it's beautiful and I had a great time, and I would love to just spend more time there when I'm in the right mindset. But ultimately, I'm really glad that I came back to Bangkok, because the first time around I just sped through, and while I was here I was like, no, there's more to this city than Khao San Road. So you'll see in my next vlog, but I've just been kind of chilling around here, relaxing. relaxing, walking around. I'm going to be doing some editing and checking out some museums and just seeing a different side, because I'm not a party girl. I'm not here, there, everywhere, take a drink. Like, I'm not that kind of girl. Like, I'm a soft life girl. I like to take things slow, and that's something that I'm realizing and getting a better understanding of how that translates to my lifestyle and the way in which I choose to travel around. And yeah, I've been enjoying slowing things down. I'm so glad that I'm, in a better place mentally and emotionally and physically. Y'all, this hotel that I'm at right now, I'm absolutely in love with. I feel like it's the perfect backdrop for me to just reflect and unpack and make these videos and transition into the next place that I'm going. So that's all. It is a lot, but I'm glad that I'm able to catch up, get back to, a point where we are in communication, because I really want to keep sharing my journey and what it is that I've been doing. And I've had a beautiful time so far, but definitely been learning the ways in which I want to continue. So yeah, I hope that you all stick around for more content, and follow me on Instagram if you want to see more real-time updates, because I was posting a lot on Instagram and on my stories and stuff. It's just YouTube is a bit bigger of a mouthful to like film and edit and post and all of that stuff, but I'm excited to be back, and we are going to continue on with the vlogs. So I hope you catch me on the next one. I hope your week has been incredible. I hope that you're refreshed and relaxed and listening to yourself and your body and getting into your routine and all of that stuff. Now I'm just rambling, but anyways, yeah, I can't wait to see you all again, and yeah, have a good rest of your week.